Hey, what's up, everybody? BDO44 coming at you with another video. All right, so Lakers, Kings, they come up tonight at the Crow. Second game of a 5-game homestand for the LA Lakers. And we're very, very encouraged by some of the play of individuals on the Lakers squad. I want to give kudos to the entire team last game for keeping their turnovers down because that was ultimately why the Lakers won the game. And I know you're looking at your phone like this guy is clearly out of his mind. What is he talking about? The Lakers had 15 turnovers. Russell Westbrook had 9 of his own or whatever. I think it was 9. But I think that's the point. If you remove Russell Westbrook's turnovers, the collective did a great job of taking care of the basketball, particularly LeBron James, who didn't have a single turnover. And that is exactly the recipe for success for the Lakers. We must have quality possessions. We are an improving defensive team, but we don't have any rim protection. And so that means that we must have less mistakes. Unfortunately, if we're turning the ball over, that's a double-edged sword for our success, or rather for our failure. It's not going to take place, basically. So we need to not simply that and rebound the ball more so. Is something that really needs to be something that the Lakers focus in on over the next several games. I understand what Frank Vogel is saying. If we're going to be running the small ball lineups on a regular basis, we're going to have to learn how to rebound. We're going to need non-rebounders to rebound the ball at a consistent clip, and that process is not going to begin unless they're thrown into the fire and asked to do so. So from that perspective, I kind of get it. And that's the thing, I believe in unorthodox styles of teaching, especially if there's adjustments to be made. I actually don't hate that. I really don't. I think it's one of those situations where as long as it's explained to us and we see it as strategy, then it's one of those things where it's just like, okay, let them experiment. Because at the end of the day, the regular season, what we have to kind of look at the regular season is 82 chances to figure out how to be a good basketball team. It's reps. You know what I mean? If you do anything 82 times, you're going to get a lot better at it. And so throughout the course of a season, it's easy to zero in with a microscope on various games and various things that coaches may try. They'll punt an entire game just to try something that maybe they feel will work in being strategic against certain teams in the playoffs. So, like as an example, the very thing that we just did, since we have to run small ball lineups with our roster, yeah, we may have a game against Minnesota without all their guys where we get out rebounded because he's trying to make THT a better rebounder. He's trying to make Avery Bradley used to rebound. He's trying to make it so that some of these guys get to a point where they don't have to be a liability in those areas. But if they never get those reps, you never get that opportunity. Now, as it pertains to running Carmelo Anthony at the center, I don't think that's something we need to be trying too much. Okay, there are certain things that you do that with, particularly with young players. But when it comes to old guys and trying experiments of that nature, you just got to kind of scrap that. Certain things just don't look good on paper to begin with. So no. But in the spirit of trying to get certain guys to be better rebounders, I don't hate the strategy, especially if we're committing to small ball. Now, I personally do not like small ball. Preference-wise, I don't. I grew up on big men. I believe in the big man game. I believe you can have plenty of shooters rotating around a non-shooting big man. I see Utah doing it right now. Saw Orlando do it with Dwight Howard back in the day. We did it with Shaq. You can do it. You can win that way. And what the big men will always do is give you an opportunity to have size on the floor to get to the highest point of the basketball. And the sport of basketball is played above the rim. Okay? The ball most of the time is above your head. So the person who's the tallest, or who has the longest reach or the ability, who can get off the floor, that person is going to give you the most opportunities and more chances to make mistakes, which is what basketball teams are going to ultimately do. Defenses are going to force you into mistakes. So what you want is more opportunities to try. Let me get another possession. Let me run another play. When you get run and dones and you don't get an offensive rebound at all, what ends up happening is you have to play defense more. Defense is reactionary. So that means you're going to use more energy on that side than you're going to use on the offensive side. So it probably tires you. Plus, you're going to pick up fouls on that side. So that means you're removing players from the game. So it's a lot of things that go into making sure that you have a big man on the floor so that you can rebound and have rim protection. Because I'm telling you, it doesn't matter how talented your guards are. They're still shorter people at the end of the day. They're not going to be able to get to the ball, and they're going to get embarrassed out there because bigger people are going to get to the ball first. More possessions for them, more chances for them to run against your defense, as to which fouls, fatigue, etc. You see what I'm saying? All this stuff ties in. And so what we're doing is punting the rebounding aspect of the game, but we don't have the right type of defense to make up for that. So as we're making mistakes, we're also giving up shots. We're also finding ourselves where guys are getting to the line against us, shooting a high free throw percentage. I mean, there's so many different things that tie in together with one another as it pertains to the game of basketball. It's not as simple as being able to shoot, being able to pass, being able to dribble. You need all these different components to kind of work together in unison for you to beat a basketball team, unless they're doing things to help you that play into your hands. And that's what the Lakers ran into against the Minnesota Timberwolves. We were doing everything wrong, but the Minnesota Timberwolves kept coughing the ball up. They kept having unforced turnovers. You know, if I'm not mistaken, Anthony Edwards had 9 turnovers of his own. Like, those are the type of things that help you, that erase your mistakes, that make it so that even though you're getting out-rebounded and not getting any second chance points, if you're shooting the ball pretty well, you probably have more points than them because they can't get a shot up because they keep giving the ball to you. So it's only helpful when you're going up against bad teams that you do things like what we tried in the last game. So in the spirit of understanding, all things considered, good job, Frank Vogel, because you tried something against a team that you could get away with against and got the victory while still failing in the areas that you expect to fail when you try something. So in other words, he picked the right game to do this, right? If you look at it that way, he picked the right game to do this, and it all worked out in our favor. And he will have film to show those non-rebounders where they messed up. And then next time in practice, assuming we have an opportunity to practice, since we haven't been all year, he can then run certain drills that help those players do those things that they see on that film differently. That's what a good coach is going to do. And being that it's January, how long would it take you to figure something out if you had this type of thing? I'd say by March, you'll be better at what it is that we're working on in January. You see what I'm saying? And by the time April comes around, you're a well-oiled machine. You got new players because of all the different things that are going to happen with free agency, etc., and trade deadline and stuff like that. Hopefully we'll get the players we need to get better, and you can see a path to us having a possible playoff run. And that's all I'm willing to say, a possible playoff run. Because as poorly as we played and as bad as our pieces seem to look, I'm not willing to give us more than that. But what I can say is, if we have a crappy season, I'd love to see what Austin Reeves year 2 looks like. I'd love to see what Malik Monk in a Laker uniform year 2 looks like. We're going to have to pay those guys, I believe, to keep them here. I expect us to do that. So there are a lot of things about this team that you can see going forward. If the Lakers are smart enough to keep some of these pieces, you can find stability. You know, so that's what I do. Like some of the smaller pieces that we made, the Stanley Johnsons, those 2 guys I already mentioned, those are pieces that I think no matter if LeBron's here or not, whether AD's here or not, it really doesn't matter because those are pieces you can keep on whatever role playing situation you have going on. So I think that's smart. It's a way to look forward past LeBron. Pieces that I think guys would want to play with, guys around the league. So these are all things I'm thinking about, as long as the Lakers have some sort of future in mind. Because what I don't want to be is the Cavs. What I don't want to be is Miami. That's my concern as a fan. So, and don't get it twisted. Those teams have recovered, but it took a while. And we don't want to do that. So that's what I'm thinking. Already past the LeBron era, to be completely honest with you, even though he's playing some of the best ball of his life. I just, he wants to play with his kid, man. So there will be a day where he leaves our team in order to make that happen. And if we're not prepared for that, it's going to be a lot of upset people. It's the plan. Do you understand what I'm saying? That is the plan. So prepare your minds for that, Laker fans. It's the plan. But we have him for another 2 years. So let's see what happens from there. And Yeah, I like the moves. Rob is making the moves I want to see. He's not doing anything brash and stupid. He's not doing funny stuff with the cap to solve our short term goals. That's not what he's doing. What he's doing is meticulously making calculated moves that create cap space, move certain players around in the depth chart that will allow them to play a little more. Removing Rondo gives us an opportunity to put some of the other young guys in a position to have his minutes, which I think was important anyway. So it's a lot of stuff that he's doing that I think is going to help us in the long run. It's just so important that the Lakers get a center. Now, there's some conversation being had about the players that the Lakers are allegedly getting it back in the trade. Now, in the video that I made, I wasn't certain what was going on with the two players that are supposed to be staying overseas that were involved in this trade. I thought that they would be going to the Knicks. Now it seems like they were going to the Cavs, and then now I'm understanding that they're supposed to be coming to the Lakers. Those are assets we can use if we're getting them back. Now, I just am not certain if we are. I think one of them actually is a center. If he's a center, we need to call him over right now. I don't know, he might be overseas playing a different contract or something like that. But if he's a center and he can play, the Lakers need to get him here. I think that's really where I'm at with it. So for whatever that's worth, I'll look into it and bring it to you guys. But yeah, play J Huff. Play J Huff. I'm on that. I'm on that train. You know me. If you follow me, you know I'm early to everything. I'm one of those guys that I call out something extremely early when I think it's even an inkling of something that could be possibly upside there. I'm calling it out. And what I'm saying to you is the Lakers have a gaping hole at the center spot, and they have a young center prospect that's 7'1" that shoots threes. I don't see the harm in playing J Huff. He's on roster. We called him up. Play J Huff. I'm putting it out there. So anyway, yeah. As far as everything else, man, off night. We're playing the Sacramento Kings. You must understand, Davion Mitchell is going to be one of the best defensive players in all of basketball. I expect him to develop into being one of the best perimeter defensive players we've ever seen. That's what I'm expecting him to become. Now, offensively, I don't know, because he shows sparks of being really, really special, and he shows sparks of being somebody who's streaky bad in terms of shooting. But he has some natural mechanics, some natural athletic ability, and offensively, I think the upside is there. I don't think he turns quite into like Gary Payton or Drew Holiday, but defensively, I think he can be gifted, very gifted. So that's somebody to look out for. It's January. He's been playing with his team for a little bit. He's learning who he is in this league, in that role. Tonight it would be a good night for him to break out. I'd be concerned, because what we have is a player like Malik Monk who's been running really, 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 really good. That's somebody that they can put on him and potentially slow him down. So I don't know how, Sacramento's not a team that I follow. I know they recently fired their coach. They got Alvin Gentry in there. And so I'm not really sure how things are going, how they're running stuff or whatever. But when I think of Sacramento these days, I'm thinking about off night. I don't know what everybody else thinking about. And like I said, they have De'Aaron Fox. They got, Harrison Barnes. Marvin Bagley's back in the lineup. Metu's playing well. They have a lot of things that's coming together for them. Obviously, Tyrese Halliburton's one of my favorite players in this league. He's also in their rotation. Probably should be in a better situation. He, too, could be quite deadly tonight. But for me, going forward, when I think about the Sacramento Kings, the first thing that's going to come to mind is, who is off-night guarding? Who are they going to stick on him? And if that's the case, it's like Darrelle Revis in football. It's like, you know what I'm saying? It's like that. It's like, you got to understand, whoever he's guarding, their numbers is going down. It doesn't matter who it is. Doesn't matter how talented they are. It's just a functionality of his game. He's going to make them play a little worse than they normally do. And if somebody cooks them, it's like, they're out of this world. They've had a hell of a performance if they can cook that dude. So that's how I'm looking at it. It's still early. Obviously, he's a rookie. He has a lot of developing to do. He's not quite what I'm telling you he's going to become. But even not being that yet, he can still do devastating things defensively to us tonight. So I'm expecting it, and you should as well. So that's what I got, man. Obviously, they're playing on the road. This is not a good team. We should beat them. Don't get it twisted. We should definitely beat this team. De'Aaron Fox will be out there. The potential for him to have a massive game is there, but he has been kind of struggling. I think he's going through the motions. I think he kind of wants to get out from under that rotation. And I can't speak for him, but I would be upset if they drafted another guard. I would, especially when the Sacramento Kings seem to have other needs. But hey, they took off night. You want an off night on your team. Yeah, that's a defensive stopper for the highest order, so you can't blame anybody for drafting him. But I just feel like 2 years in a row they've drafted guards. They paid him. He's not in that rotation like he's used to being, and I think he's ready to take that step of being like an MVP caliber player. Hard to do that when you have two other guards that can really go crazy. So, yeah, that's my thing. I think he's probably about fed up with Sacramento, and I think it would be wise for them to shop him. I would, because they don't really need his contract on tab when you have those two other guards who are capable of starting and doing things for themselves. You can use his money to help yourself in other areas. So, yeah, I would shop De'Aaron Fox, depending on what I could bring back. So that's just something I'm saying. But either way, it's not like you just up and want to trade him per se. It's just the situation they have specifically. So yeah, that's what I want to say about that. Small ball will not work tonight. No, Sacramento's not one of those teams you can do that against. I'm just putting that out there. I don't know if Rashad Holmes is healthy. I know he goes in and out of the lineup a lot. But if he's out there, don't do that. He's a rebounding force. He could score repeatedly in the paint. He's going to make whoever that is in the paint that's against him look bad. And he's going to draw fouls too. They also have the Metu dude that I've been telling you about. He's coming off a game where he hit the game winner a few nights ago. So be aware of Metu and what he's capable of. As I always mention Harrison Barnes. Sacramento got a lot of players that I'm just not familiar with, but I'm going to be watching for them tonight. See what they can do. Davis is out there. I know he also plays well against the Lakers sometimes. So, yeah, plenty of talent. And they have size, so we can't do that against them, period. Do expect LeBron to continue on his heroics. He's been playing phenomenally. I see no reason for that to slow down. He's mastered the game of basketball a long time ago, and anything that you see from him is probably going to be great so long as he feels good enough to do it. We know his three-point shooting comes and goes. His free throw woes, they are what they are. But this is one of the greatest players to ever play. And we're seeing him play some of the best ball we've ever seen. So my suggestion to you, enjoy it. Enjoy it. Just appreciate it. Capture the moment in time you were alive to watch LeBron James play. And that's really what it is. And I feel the same way about him, Steph Curry, KD. It's a lot of them like just appreciate it while it's here because they don't last. Take it from somebody who enjoyed the last era and the era before that. Those guys don't stick around and they don't come back. So you definitely want to appreciate them now. So yeah, that's what I got, man. Lakers, Kings at the Crow. I don't know. This team is so bipolar, man. I don't know what to expect. We could turn the ball over 30 times tonight. I wouldn't blink. I wouldn't, because that's how weird our team has been. If we out-rebound this team tonight by 25, I wouldn't be surprised. If Malik Monk goes for 40, won't be shocked. If THT goes for 0 for 8, I won't be shocked. It can go all over the place. It can go all over the place, man. But what I hope to see is Russell Westbrook be managed better. I'm no longer looking at him. I'm looking at coaching staff. When he starts acting up, you sit him down quick. Don't let him start turning the ball over 8-9 times. If he has the jitters, just no. We can't wait for him to get it together. We're not going to sit here and coddle him and pretend like this is fine. It's not fine. He's going through something very, very serious on this basketball court. And until he figures it out, he needs to be managed. That's it. So if he's doing well, he's doing well. Keep him out there. Once he starts bumbling and fumbling, at some point in time, you got to cut the cord. You got to sit him down. So we respect him. Hey, you've done a lot. Appreciate you. But today is today. And we're not living in the past. So right now, he's a player that can barely get right and needs to be played as such. Period. So that's what I have to say. Shout out Avery Bradley, who's resurged. I've been calling him to play better, and kind of been, hating a little bit on his minutes. He has made me look foolish, and I'm happy to say that. Always happy to say that. So he's been playing great. As long as he's continuing to do that, we will be able to play him with confidence. So yeah, that's what I want to say, man. Hopefully Stanley Johnson could be re-signed right away. I understand that his 10-day has also expired to go along with Collison's, but the Lakers have every plan to keep Stanley Johnson, as far as I can tell. I say that with a great deal of confidence because it makes no sense not to. We've created a lot of cap space, $4 million worth of money. It's up to him to take what we offer, I believe. But the fit's great. He's been great. There's nothing else to say. So, yeah, that's what I got to say, man. My name is BDF44. Thank you all for watching.